And I was scared, terrified out of my mind that every single human that I knew was going to judge me, because who are you to give us any type of fitness or life advice? And I still sometimes have that fear. But something in me was like, you gotta just do this. And that was the beginning of my career. The thing that I wake up so freaking excited about doing today. It was because I took the leap. I listened to that gut intuition feeling, the thing inside of me that told me you got to just go for it. Hi, my name is Pernilla, and this is my Challenge Your Norm podcast. I'm absolutely obsessed with anything related to personal development. And well, to grow, we got to challenge our norm. And so on this podcast, we chat about life and how we can challenge our normal way of living it to make it greater than we could have ever imagined. Just one little belief, habit, bold move, and challenge at a time. Hello, my beautiful friend, and welcome back to another episode here on my Challenge Your Norm podcast, where today I want to speak with you about this idea of taking a leap when we're not ready, when we're scared, afraid of what is going to come from us taking a chance, but doing so anyway because we have this gut intuition feeling that there is something better waiting for us on the other side of us taking this very scary leap and switching up the direction of where we're going in life. And first, let's talk about the elephant in the room. I have not been doing podcasts for a few weeks, and I wanted to do it every week, but I've really journaled on this. I've really gotten clear on what are my priorities when it comes to work at this moment. And I tend to spread myself way too thin. I have so many good ideas that I want to bring to life. And I take a lot of things on when I get the ideas. And then I sometimes am not able to do as much as I hoped I could, because things just tend to take more time than I often think. And I am very efficient. Like, I get more done in a day than I would say probably anyone I know. Maybe my mom beats my efficiency, but I am very, very efficient and I get a lot done. But I also just tend to put way too much on my plate. And I've gotten very, very clear on what are my priorities? Like, what are the things that I need to put as my top priority at this moment of my life, in this stage of my career and all these things that I'm building? And whenever I'm like, oh my God, I got 10 different things that I got to do today, but I'll only have time for 5, let's say, then I will make sure that I align these things that I have to do and that I want to do with the things that are just on that top list of my priorities in this moment of time. And podcasting is something I so love. I love podcasting. But when I've sat down with my journal and asked myself, like, what are the things that I really need to focus on this year at this moment in my life? There are just other things that I need to get done before I sit down and record a podcast. And so I've come to a place now where I need to just be good to myself, be loving to myself, and create a podcast whenever I have both the creative idea, the thing that I hope and believe is going to bring you guys listening value, but also when I have time for it. Like right now, oh my goodness, I only have 15 minutes left to record this till I have to leave the house. But I have the time. I have these 15 minutes. And so right now is a time where I can do it. And who knows? If you listening right now needed to hear this message right now of taking a leap when you are not ready, when you have this gut intuition feeling that you need to do something, because it is a theme that has been coming up a lot, both in my own life recently, but also in the life of the people that are around me right now. When I was 19, I got this intuition feeling that I needed to move, or at least visit the US. And I didn't really know why at the time, but that all unfolded in me today, 8 years later, living and loving my life in Los Angeles. It has been a wild journey, but there was something inside of my body as a 19-year-old that wanted to do this. What also was inside of this 19-year-old body was absurd fear. Not knowing if I was going to find any friends, not knowing if I was going to fit in, not having any clue of what LA was even like, because I had never been to Los Angeles before. I decided to go there for the 6 months that I went there. And that just took me on a completely crazy journey of me today getting to live my dream life and continuously develop that as I, go about this journey. And same with when I wanted to start my Instagram and my YouTube channel. Like, I didn't know why, but I just had this feeling inside that it was something that I needed to do, even though I didn't know why at the time, right? And I was scared, terrified out of my mind that every single human that I knew was going to judge me, because who are you to give us any type of fitness or life advice? And I still sometimes have that fear, but something in me was like, you got to just do this. And that's was the beginning of my career. The thing that I do today, the thing that I wake up so freaking excited about doing today. It was because I took the leap. I listened to that gut intuition feeling, the thing inside of me that told me, you got to just go for it. Right now, I have set up my lease, as in April, at some point, I move out of my apartment that I've lived in a little bit over 2 years. My boyfriend as well is completing his chapter of the work that he moved to the US in January of 2023 to create. He was only supposed to be doing it for a year, but it's now been a year and 3 months or so. And he has been in a position for the last 10 years where he's just like grown his career to a point where he's always known exactly where his income would come from. And it's just progressed, gotten better and better and better. But in the back of his mind, he's always had this dream that one day he wanted to do this other thing. And I'm not going to share too much into details as to what that is, because that's for him to share. But he's known that he wanted to do this thing. But this thing is very scary. And it's something that is going to force him to get outside of his comfort zone and do this thing that he's been doing for the last 10 years. And I've set up my lease. He's going to be moving out, and right now we're playing around with the idea that we're going to go on some crazy wild adventure. And it is scary for both of us. It is a wild transition, but there's something inside of us that's telling us we got to do it. And once again, it's this reminder to myself that I can feel that this is something that I need to do. I have no idea why. I have some ideas as to what potentially could come from it. I have dreams of what potentially could come from it, but I don't know for sure. But in these moments, I just have to remind myself that last time and every single other time before that, when I've had this intuition feeling, something telling me that I need to take the leap and do this thing, that is really when the most magical things have suddenly shown up in my life. And sometimes that has been from something going down, like something going wrong, something not ending up in the way that I had hoped for it to. But in the process of that, let's say, low point in my life that came from me having taken action on this intuition gut feeling that I needed to do something, sometimes that has not ended up in the way that I wanted it to. And from that low point in my life, I've learned a lesson that was essential and so necessary for me to level up into the next level and stage of my life. So sometimes these things don't unfold in the way that we maybe want them to. Sometimes it's wilder than our wildest dreams, as in the most magnificent, magical thing. But sometimes it goes in a way that doesn't feel very good in the moment, but that eventually ends up teaching us a lesson that we needed to learn in order for us to then level up our life and have these magical, miraculous experiences and moments and new awareness in life, right? And so we are right now planning out, trying to figure out how are we going to go about doing this. And I will share more about what this is, but right now we're still like figuring it out ourselves. So I'll wait for a future podcast episode to share more about that. But my intention with sharing this with you is just to allow you as well to really listen to that gut intuition feeling that maybe in this moment doesn't make any sense to you because it just doesn't. But remind you to allow yourself to listen to it anyway. And potentially, if it keeps being inside of you, if it keeps showing up, I think that there's a reason for it. I think that it is because it's something you need to do a little bit of research on, both in the soul searching type of research, but also maybe, if you've had this thought of like moving to France. This is an example, but like moving to France, maybe you should look up like, what does it look like? What is rent like? And what is the application process of getting a work visa in France? Or is there do they need, if you're English speaking, like, do they need English teachers in France? Like, I don't know, but just like doing a little bit of research on it, like just allowing yourself to play around with this little gut intuition feeling, because the more we play around with it, the more knowledge we gain about it, and the more we can figure out if this is actually something that we feel excited about pursuing or going for. I am currently in Denmark. If you've watched my YouTube videos, you know that I was in Denmark, stuck in Denmark. And then I did this fitness challenge with my mom. And so I came back after 2 months when she had completed it to celebrate with her, but also because my grandparents have their 60-year anniversary tomorrow. So I'm going to be there for that, and then I'm going to be leaving the day after. However, the reason I'm saying this is because I'm right now in my mom's house. She broke up with a boyfriend, I don't know how many years ago now, it was many years ago. And in that specific moment, she was in the middle of taking a ton of educations to become a therapist. She'd been a hairdresser her whole life, and suddenly she was like, I need to pursue this other passion of mine. A leap because she had this gut intuition feeling. She needed to do it. She went for it, took the leap, took all these educations, believed that at one point she could become a therapist. And for 10 years she was studying in total, but actually she's still studying. She's like a never ending wanting to learn kind of woman, which I can relate to. I am her daughter, but I'm right now in her massive house that she somehow managed to put the down payment for in this moment of time when she did not have a lot of money. She did not have any type of business within her therapy because she had just finished one of her educations and was still taking others. She bought this massive house that has a business little house beside it. And in that moment, she was like, I don't know how I'm going to make this thing happen. First of all, like starting a business, which most therapy businesses in Denmark, they fail because it's very, very hard to get clients and make it thrive, I guess, in any part of the world. But she put the down payment and she was like, I'm going to somehow figure out a way to start my business. I'm going to somehow figure out a way to pay off this house. I'm just going to figure it out because my gut is telling me to. Scrolling forward, I don't know, is it like 7 years ago now or something? She today, I don't know if she's completely paid off the house, but she's definitely like paid off majority of it. And at the same time, she has built one of the most successful therapy businesses in all of Denmark. It is absolutely crazy. But there is this thing about when we follow our intuition, and we keep on keeping on, taking action, aligned action, and we keep on moving forward in the direction of what our soul is telling us to, somehow it works out if we choose to not allow anything that gets in our way stop us from continuously following that gut feeling, following this spark and joy and excitement that we have inside of us. Regardless of the fear, regardless of the letdowns, that we keep on moving. I really, really believe that there are miraculous experiences and moments waiting on the other side for us to live so much better of a life. And we all deserve to go for it. So if you have been getting little nudges to do something and you have not yet taken the leap, this podcast episode, I just want for you to be an invitation to maybe just do a little bit of discovery. Like I mentioned, inner discovery, as well as some research on the internet. Start listening to podcasts about it. Start Googling a little bit about it, because the more knowledge you gain on it, the more excitement you're maybe also going to experience, as well as ways to go about it. Because we often think that it's impossible, right? Like, because we don't know anything about it. But the more we learn about it, the more we realize that there are ways to do it, because we get in connection, because we realize and find out about different people who've gone different routes and made this thing possible. And if they can do it, so can you. I really do not have any more time now. I have to leave, but I'm so grateful for you listening to this podcast episode. And I just hope and dream that you go for this thing that your gut is telling you to go for, because you deserve it. And quickly, if you found this valuable, I would so appreciate it if you would share it with a friend or on social media, as well as hopefully just give me a review and some stars on whatever platform you're listening to this on, because it helps me so much. I would just crazy appreciate it. Thank you so much for listening. And as always, remember that in order for you to grow, you have to challenge your norm. Bye.